Hello everyone, I'm Tracy, the managing editor at San Francisco Bay Area Moms, and happy Deck the Halls. Thank you for being with us for all 12 days of our holiday extravaganza. And today we're wrapping it up with wreath making. So I have my materials here. Make sure you've got yours. I would recommend watching the video first, kind of checking it out, and then gathering anything that you might need. And then you can go through the video, pause when you need to, and speed through if you've already got something done. So here we go. Okay, so we're actually gonna do two different wreaths. I have this simple frame, and we're gonna do one on this really quickly. And then I have this one that it has, and we'll use a lot more greenery. So choose which one you want. If you don't have a lot of greenery, you can go for this one. If you've got plenty of extra, then choose this one. And hopefully you had a chance to pick up your greenery from Spirit Tree Farms at their one of 5 locations, including one in San Francisco at the Westfield Mall. Okay, so there's no wrong way or right way to make a wreath. We're just going to go along and I will give you some tips. The first tip I'm going to tell you to do though is to create some small bundles of your greenery. Take about 3 or 4 pieces, put them together, and then take a piece of floral thread, or you could even use a metal ornament hanger if you don't have anything like this at home. Get your stems together, take the floral wire and just kind of spin it around the ends of them so you've got a grouping. I would do this first with all of the greenery that you think you're going to want to use, and then I've put mine in a bucket with a little bit of water just to kind of keep them fresh and to keep them looking green a little bit longer. So go ahead, I'll stop the video, and I would recommend go ahead and doing that step right now. Okay, so first we're gonna do the simple wreath. This happens to be an embroidery wreath. It doesn't have to be that. Any single circle will work. I've picked 2 bunches of greenery that have some different textures, and that's important to think about. You might want some different length of needles, some shorter ones, some longer ones. They'll give it a little more depth to whatever you're creating. So I'm gonna take these 2 and kind of attach them here at the top. Again, using the floral wire. Got a really long piece here. So I'll put them here at the top. And I'm just going to bend the floral wire around. That's one piece. I think I'll do another one just to make sure that it's on there securely. And that's really it. It's that simple to do this one, and it's kind of a nice different statement instead of having one entirely covered in greenery. And then what you can do now is kind of dress it up. If you've got ribbon, bows, ornaments, pine cones, berries, mistletoe, anything else that you want to add to it. So I do happen to have a bow and I'm going to use it. I am not a bow maker, so I bought this one that was already made, but we will include a couple tutorials that we, some of the other sister sites have been sharing, so that it might give you some inspiration if you yourself are not a bow maker. So I will put that on here, and it has twisties of its own, and I'll just twist it in the back. The back does not look pretty at all, and that's okay, nobody's gonna see it, but you might want to be careful if you are putting it on a door or something that you're worried about getting scratched. You might not want all of this wire exposed. So you might want to take some kind of complementary ribbon and just go back and forth a little bit maybe, and be able to do a protective barrier so that's not scratching any surfaces that you don't want to get scratched. So again, that can be it, and that can be enough. It's a great looking wreath. You can have, I have a few different ornaments here. Because the bow has the longer tails, it might not work, but it could work. And if you notice, it has the buffalo plaid on it as well, on the ornament. So I'm going to just cut this part and feed the twine of the ornament through the center of the bow. You can make just a quick little knot in it so it doesn't fall out. And voila, that's what we have. You can, again, doctor it up if you want to add any, colors of the red or some more shapes with pine cones, but you'll want to be careful it's not too top heavy and that it doesn't take away from just the idea of having a more simplistic wreath. So next we'll move on to the one that's a little more in depth. All right, for our Deck the Walls wreath number 2, we're going to use this green frame. It has a couple different size circles in the middle so you can weave your greenery in between. This is a 16-inch frame. I wouldn't get any more because once you get the greenery on there, it's going to end up taking up a lot more space than you might realize. So even getting a 12 or 14-inch frame would be just fine. I would recommend taking all the greenery. Remember that you have bound already into smaller pieces and kind of outline where you want them to go so you get a general sense before you start putting them into the wreath. And the important thing here that to really consider is going in the same direction. So either clockwise or counterclockwise. And just kind of laying them out. Let's see. So just play around with that. Again, I've got a lot of different kinds of textures and greenery in here. It gives it a variety and a little bit more shape and dimension to have that. And by doing this too, it really just helps you make sure that you've got enough that you will need for the wreath. And if you need to get more, if you have a live Christmas tree, maybe you need to cut a few extra branches off. And so for example, I've got some of this greenery with this really dense needles. And so I'm gonna wanna space that out too. Just again, to kind of get an idea of what I am working with. So that's a good start. Now, let's put some of this back in. I got an idea of what I'm gonna do. And let me show you how to get started getting those first greens into your frame. So take the bundled end and you can literally just kind of weave it through. It doesn't matter which one. This one happens to have 3 different circles. So I'm gonna start with the middle one here. And I could just, it's in there pretty good, but I would still recommend, especially if you're gonna be hanging this outdoors, not knowing what the wind might be like, is taking your floral wire and just securing it a little bit. So I've got it stuck in there, and then now I'm gonna thread through the wire. And just fasten it. Keeps it a little secure. Don't worry at this point about fluffing the branches and doing any of that. You really just want to get it on there right now. So that is our start. Because what you can also do too, once you get it all on it, if you don't like that this piece is kind of hanging, you could use some floral wire and attach it up here to not have it hanging down so much and have it closer to the wire. So what I'm gonna do right now is stop my video, and I'm gonna go ahead and add all of my greenery. When I get towards the end, I'll come back on and I'll show you how to get those last pieces in. And then we'll talk about how we're gonna secure some of those other branches. Okay, so I've got all of this greenery on. I'm getting towards the end. One piece of advice I'd give you, I found out as I kept going along, is I put the stem and the bunches pretty much right in the middle. It was the easiest, it looked the best, and it really allowed me to get the wire in and secure it to the wreath. So lesson learned and a tip from me regarding that. So I'm on my last few spaces here. So get this one in here. This one's a little unruly, but that's okay because we'll be able to go back around and secure some of it. So I've got my last piece. I know the floral wire comes in a spool, but these longer sticks work really well. They cut pretty easily. They'd cut with scissors, but I also have some wire cutters here that work super. So here we go. This is the wreath. Again, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. You could hang it just like this, but I do want to pay a little attention to some of the spots here. So take some of my wire, cut them into smaller pieces. So for example, this is way unruly, and this was the last piece I used, and I knew it was going to be that way. So let's take some of this and tie it down to the top, the outermost ring. So again, that's another good reason to stick most of the main parts of your branches around the middle so that you can fasten and lay down some of the greenery on the outer and on the innermost rings. You want to be really careful with the wire. It's quite pokey, so make sure that any of the pieces as you're using it, that you're really tucking them in so that you don't end up poking yourself with the wire anytime during your wreath making. So here's another section. It's kind of open. I could actually probably add something there, but I'm kind of thinking that might end up becoming the top of the wreath. Let's add another piece. So it is a little bit of a smaller one. I've got plenty of space in there. All right, I'm gonna go off camera again. I'm gonna just kind of play with it, tuck down a few more of the pieces of greenery, and then we'll come back and we'll add some accents. Okay, now for some accents. You could use lights if you wanted to, especially if you had a battery pack. You'd want to be careful where you're hanging it. Again, if it's outdoors in the elements, you may want to protect the battery pack. If it's inside, then no issues there. It's totally up to you what you want to do. This one happens to be kind of tangled, and it's not worth the frustration of trying to untangle it, but I just wanted to give you an idea that you can certainly add some lights. Now I've got pine cones. You certainly could use real pine cones wherever you're picking up your greens from. If it's Spear Family Tree Farms, they might have some to give you and share. If you're going out on a walk, you might find some, or if you just buy some at the craft store. These came in a stick of 3. You could break it down smaller if you want. They get a little bit harder to handle, so I think I'm gonna leave it with the 3. And again, I just put it right through the ring at any place that I kind of want there. Take my trusty floral wire, wrap it into place. Now, if you're really particular about the wire and that, you might spend more time than I am. I'm just really more function over form, but that will be up to you. So let's see, we've got one there. And how about we'll do one on this side, a little symmetry. And I'm doing wide wrappings of this, so just move your branches out of the way. And then you can use the branches to kind of camouflage and hide the wire. So that's what we have so far. I also have some, this is artificial. Again, you can get bundles of berries at your local grocery store or nursery, or again, use artificial if you have them. And then you can take this artificial stuff out of the wreath at the end of the year and be able to do one again next year. Save the frame and save the artificial stuff, and all you'll need to do is add fresh greens. All right, so I'm gonna secure some berries, and I'm just happen to be choosing to put it next to the pine cones. As far as taking care of the wreath, once you have it up, they do make all sorts of chemicals and special things that you can use to spray the greenery to have it last longer. You're making these on December 12th or anytime after then, so you should be fine, and that shouldn't be a big concern unless you're gonna keep it up more of a winter wreath. But you could simply spray it with a bottle of water just to keep the greenery lasting a little bit longer. So there we go. We've got some pine cones and some berries. I found these fun faux sticks at the craft store. They're literally like styrofoam. So if you wanted to do something with these, you certainly could. Look at that, they cut super, super easy. So it would be up to you if you wanted to add a little extra there. I did buy another ornament, and I really have a thing with attaching ornaments, I guess. So let's try that. The other thing I happen to have, and I didn't even go out and buy these, I had these in my craft supplies, but were these wooden kind of created and treated with flame and burnt out. So you could add, actually let's do that. Oh, I see a snowflake theme going here with the ornament in these. So let's add some of these. I'm gonna go for the lighter colored ones because I've already got the dark brown in the pine cones. So let's see. I can use the floral wire. That's what I'm doing. You could probably also, and I'll try it with the next one. Oh, maybe not. But I would say you might be able to stick a branch through, but that doesn't look quite as nice. So we've got one there. Let's put one here. And these other extra little touches really do kind of help tame down some of those wild branches that you might have going on. And let's take the ornament guess this has, through all of this, kind of naturally spoken, I guess, to say this should be the top. You could certainly hang the ornament from the bottom too, whatever you wanted to do, but I kind of like it up here on top. And there we go. Pretty simple, pretty easy to do. Maybe this is a little bare. I could add ribbon to it if I wanted to. I have this slightly smaller Merry Christmas ribbon. So here's an idea. You could take it. We could go across the center. That might be a nice touch. This is kind of small and dainty ribbons, so you may want to use something thicker. But I can even, let's see, look at that. If I just tie it in a knot here, I can use the greenery and the berries and everything to kind of disguise that and kind of hide it. Do this side too. Oh, not easy here. There we go. So add a little Merry Christmas ribbon through the center of it. Again, you could do a bow or something in the bottom if you wanted these kind of faux sticks, or maybe good things come in threes. Maybe we do another grouping of pine cones and berries. So there we go. All right, well, whatever you decided to create, I am sure it looks amazing and beautiful. Please take a picture and share it on the Holiday Extravaganza Facebook page. We'd love to see your final products. Whether you did the more minimalistic wreath, or you went all in and did one with more greenery and a few more add-ons, whatever they might be, I'm sure it is amazing and will look fantastic. So thank you again for joining the San Francisco Bay Area Moms for our Holiday Extravaganza. And remember, 20% of your ticket is going to La Casa de las Madres. And good luck on the giveaways. We have over $3,000 worth of different products and services that are going to be raffled off today on December 12th. So look for an email from San Francisco Bay Area Moms to let you know if you won. So happy holidays from all of us, and thank you for decking the walls.